And so continues my asparagusathon. And this is number 22 of I Eat, I Read, I Watch. So today, of course, we're using asparagus again. And this is a dish involving pork tenderloin, black truffle infused egg noodles, and you guessed it, asparagus. So Sunday was my annual trip to Niagara region to get asparagus from Redbud Farm. I returned with 20 pounds, enough for me and to fill orders from other grateful urbanites. After a wonderful day with my Redbud friends, not to mention the great spread they put on for lunch, I wasn't really up to cooking. However, I had to get more asparagus into me. So I scoured the fridge for leftovers. Back a few weeks ago, and recorded in I Eat, I Read, I Watch number 17, I tenderized and then marinated some pork tenderloin. A Ziploc of marinated pieces ended up in the freezer, and I'd fried them up on Friday. That was a good meal, but asparagusless. Sunday, I chopped up the leftover pork in a cold version of Friday's side, egg noodles with black truffle and porcini sauce. Oh my God, to die for. And then I simmered a pound of asparagus for 4 minutes in salted water. I plated half of my leftover pork truffle noodle salad and buttered the asparagus. Nothing fancy, but absolutely divine. Prep time, 10 minutes. Cost, I'd say about $10. Origin, as Canadian as possible. If you'd like to share with me your favorite way to eat asparagus, please go to the blog at celiachandler.com and add it to the comments. So what am I reading? Well, it's a book called This Way Up, Old Friends, New Love, and a Map for the Road Ahead. Catherine Bradbury's first book, The Bright Side, came out during the pandemic while I was just getting into my groove with memoir. Her writing style is a bit lighter than some who write about their lives, and therefore appeals more to me. When I saw she'd released a new book reflecting her life now she's in her late 60s, I was keen to give it a whirl. I'm proud of myself, though, no longer buying all my books, and so I put myself on the waiting list at the library to read it. And after a short wait, it was my turn. One of Bradbury's chapters is entitled, I have a hut in Toronto at the foot of my garden path, which, as you can imagine, kind of spoke to me. Well, I'm not living in a hut, and she doesn't live in hers either, but like me, she's living her grand adventure, 33 steps along the stone path from the house to the hut, or so she describes it. In that hut, she's discovered that her hut is, quote, less a place to hide out than a place to find out what was hidden in her, end quote. That kind of resonated with me too. She also talks about deepening her relationship with solitude. I totally concur. I really enjoyed her book, and despite the decade she's got on me, time-wise, some of her recent experiences are not far off mine. If you've got a good 2025 release to recommend, tell us about it in the comments on my blog. And finally, what am I watching? Well, I'm watching Motherland. So in contrast, the BBC's Motherland has nothing to do with my life whatsoever, but damn is it funny. If you were a fan of Workin' Mums, the CBC comedy from a few years ago, this will make you laugh too. It's an ensemble cast of young, mostly mothers, one stay-at-home dad, who show parenting the way I imagine it really is. Nothing Instagrammable about any of it. At various points, they clearly would prefer not to have the bother of children. The kids themselves are mostly unnamed and not at all part of the plot lines. They are the television version of my entire generation, mostly merrily raising ourselves, we were, as are these. As a non-parent, I'm probably not allowed to say this, but honestly, what a better way to go. You can't produce an overly entitled child if you give them nothing beyond food and shelter. If you like BBC shows, please let us know in the comments on my blog. And of course, if you've missed earlier installments, you can find those on my blog too. Thanks so much for watching.